HeroQuestFans! Welcome to our game. Unless you enter, you'll not bleed the same. Mighty heroes here to outsmart the villain. Zargon, the chaos magician. Here's orcs and ghouls, they're on a mission of destruction to enslave the world with corruption. They need gold to fuel a war against mankind, but we'll even that score in time. You will find 4 champions arise, chosen by the wise sage mentor. From the corners of the earth, they'll never surrender. From the north comes the barbarian, a real humanitarian. His sword cuts through monsters like butter. Downs one heroic brew, he uncorks another. Courage is the virtue for which he's most famous. But when it comes to magic, he's an ignoramus. Next in line, the dwarf from the mountain. He's got more coins than you find in a fountain. Traps are his specialty, I'm told. With an axe in his hand, he's never more bold. Short on courage, think again. Respect the beard and we can begin. From the forest of the law comes the elf, a warrior in spite of himself, with the talent and skill from his woodland kin. He'll take down the monsters he encounters with a grin. There's more than one way to get the job done, but don't worry, he does this for fun. Last but not least, there comes forth the wizard, a mysterious alchemist who's calm in a blizzard. Earthquake of fire, when it comes to tricks, he's the one to hire. A man of wisdom and grace, and when things get tense, he throws a staff in the face of the enemy who tries to match his wit. Don't mess around, he isn't down for that. Secret doors, traps, and gems, it's all here, my friends. Other heroes join the fight, who you choose all depends on you, your bravery that night. Join us when the time is right. The crowd will be there to cheer you on, giving help to the side they are on. Who will you choose, the chaos or the good? The choice yours if you understood. Every now and then we'll turn up the heat, escape the impossible situation with the uncommon feat. Show up Friday, Saturday on the stream. Twitch is the place where HeroQuest fans will team. Every night treasure and fight, work as a team to lean on the mean green orc machine. The goblins with their forks, abominations from the female realm, undead zombies, mummies from the gloom of the tomb where gargoyles dwell. Ogres respect the grog or a club. Hope you brought enough to go around, bub. Ghosts and skeletons beware. When the heroes are in town, you'll get your share of fisticuffs and wrestling moves. When the weapons are out, they're nothing but smooth. Dice rolls, potions and skills, spells and cards draw with utmost precision. There's a method to their madness, a plan of action. Don't block their path unless you want to end up in traction. Zargon's met his match, or do you believe me? Join our Discord and find out who the crowd supports. Use your gold to help out your cohort. See you next quest. With HeroQuestFans, welcome to our game. Once you enter, you'll not leave the same.
All right, welcome to HeroQuestFans. It is a Friday afternoon, and we're getting started just a little bit late here. I just wanted to shout out Suno.com. So Suno.com is where we've done some AI-generated music before. Yes, AI-generated music. Well, the reason for our experimenting in that area is we've had some issues with the content IP system used by Twitch and used by YouTube as well. And there's just a situation where, sometimes you'll be using music and then they change the license on you and make it really difficult. You just want to have some nice background music, right? You don't want to get demonetized or shadow banned or blocked or any of that stuff. Not that we make much of any money from HeroQuestFans. I mean, a little bit, and I appreciate it. But yeah, it's not a job. It's not a side hustle. It's just a hobby. Still, I mean, the worst thing that we had happen was the Rantcast podcast. We had an entire stream muted, and they didn't give a clear explanation of what happened, but the audio, 4 hours of audio gone. So we're like, oh man. So moving forward, I think we're going to look at other options here as far as music goes. And we're also going to record the audio separately as a separate track rather than relying on the platform to record it for us, because they can just take it away without any explanation. So, but anyway, I did write the lyrics for that HeroQuest song, and I put it into Suno.com, so the vocals and music is all AI generated. I was thinking back, you might think, well, what does rap music have to do with HeroQuest? Well, nothing. But back in the day, in the early 90s, I'm thinking of being a kid in middle America and what things were popular back then in pop culture. like hip hop and rap was like really popular, heavy metal, um, video games, wrestling, like those were all like part of the pop culture piece. So I realize it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I thought it was fitting somehow. So anyway, hope you enjoyed. And no, the song is not publicly available yet, but it can be. I think it needs a few more tweaks. The way he pronounces the words in a few places are kind of a little odd. Sometimes you have to type out stuff phonetically. But yeah. All right, so we're getting ready to do some questing tonight. Some against the Ogre Horde. Welcome to Jart's Geek on Giddy. Zargon is becoming 90s big boss. Bring back memories of Streets of Rage. Oh yeah, Streets of Rage and Sega Genesis. Great series. Lyrics are fire. Dope song. Okay, so Call for Heroes once again. Let's see who we have tonight. I see Bohemyus and Glasgow. My closest allies and harshest critics. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
How you guys doing? So, thoughts on the song? If you heard it, terrible.
I cannot hear it from here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My Twitch is muted to avoid echo.
Ah, yeah, that's all right. Well, right now we're listening to Karl Casey again. Karl Casey at White Bat Audio. Also, Karl Casey at bandcamp.com. So he has his own website, and we hope that he doesn't change his license. I notice his stuff has been coming up as copyright claimed on videos, even though his whole shtick this whole time has been, this stuff is royalty free, you can use it, just give me a shout out, that's all you need to do. So we'll see. Now, YouTube has a nice feature where it does allow you to strip out the audio of a song from a stream if it's been claimed. Most of the time they just let you do that without muting the rest of the audio or deleting the segment, which is how it used to be. Twitch, on the other hand, they just say, let's just mute a big chunk of your audio. And it's all automated, so it's a pain. I don't like it. I mean, we could play without music. I could create my own music, but yeah. I think having a little bit of background is nice. If you listen to our earliest game streams, there wasn't any music. But anyway, it's a big game. But I'm glad you guys are here. And hope you're doing well. We had a whole bunch of weather here. But things are calmed down now, I think. I think we might get some more snow in my area tonight. But no HeroQuest news lately.
All right, guys. Yeah, no. Where's the HeroQuest news? It's Drought.
Yeah. We need Christian Bale as the Dark Knight. Where is it? Twitch on the big screen. Oh, cool. So Bohemyus is watching us in his home theater. Or no, that's a TV. Yeah, I'm often curious what it looks like on other people's screens. Like, does it look serviceable, or is it weirdly formatted? So yeah, well, my big hope for the HeroQuest news is that if all else fails at GenCon, July 31st, Joe Manganiello will be there, or maybe a cardboard cutout of him, and they'll just say, okay, here's all the stuff. Now, I do want to just touch on one thing, and I'm not going to launch into a rant cast on it right now, because this is not the rant cast. But I know several people have expressed to me fears that the U.S. tariffs are going to cause like problems for HeroQuest moving forward. We don't know anything about that, except there was a recent article where Chris Cox, yes, that's his real name, the CEO of Hasbro, was making some comments. And I'll be honest with you, I'm always very skeptical of those speeches given by CEOs, just because, I mean, they've got a lot riding on like every single word they say. Like, stocks can plunge based on if they say the wrong word. So I'm kind of just like, okay, take it with a grain of salt. he in very brief, he did mention that there was this thought that tariffs might increase the prices of Hasbro products, but they were going to offload it onto collectors. And Glasgow, I immediately thought of you because I'm like, oh man. But of course, he did not define what collectors meant, like what he meant by that. So I don't know if all of HeroQuest would be affected or just like the fan roll dice. So it's a lot of stuff we don't know yet. So I don't know. I'm usually the doomsayer. I'm usually the guy who tries to see the negative. I'm saying try not to panic. Let's just go what facts are saying. I know some people were saying, First Light is discounted already. That was just in one store location. We have no evidence of it happening anywhere else outside of Georgia. And anyway, again, I'm staying away from political stuff on this stream, so I don't want to get into any of that, but I do want to just address it, just mention it, the fact that we are paying attention to that, and we'll try to report on what we do find. It's probably going to go in the rantcast, though. It's probably not going to be on the stream. So, anyway, Glasgow, praying for you.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, I think I'll just, nothing else to do but wait and see. No point in worrying about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Geek Gun Giddy says, let's see, Glasgow and I will be discussing returning glass bottles to save for future expansions. Yeah, listen, if you've got a couch, lift up the cushions. There may be some change underneath there, especially if you're about to throw the couch out. Check thoroughly. Before your clothes go in the wash, empty out the pockets just to be sure. You don't have any extra coins in there. Just saying. All right. Okay, well, all of that aside, we're getting ready to play against the Ogre Horde once again. So thank you guys for coming. As usual, I will just let the viewers know, especially our newer viewers or listeners. We play this game live on Discord, HeroQuest. We use electronic dice. If you want to join us and play as a hero, you're welcome to do so. Easiest and best way is to join our HeroQuest Fans Discord and hop into Quest Talk. That's voice channel Quest Talk to control a hero. If you want to lurk, that's fine. Twitch.tv/HeroQuestFans. Go into the chat. In the chat, you'll see a little orange and purple treasure chest icon, or treasure icon. Click on that, and that's where the rewards are, viewer rewards. And you use your channel points, which we call gold coins, to influence the quest as we play. So you can get stuff for the heroes, potions and things. You can get stuff for your old pal Uncle Zargon here to thwart the heroes, like monsters and chaos cards and things. So we appreciate your participation. And thanks to everyone who subscribed. I know on the, and who followed, of course. On the YouTube channel, I had 1.1 thousand subscribers, and I try not to get into that numbers game where it's like, oh man, the numbers, they matter so much. I think it's the content and the experience that matters. But still, there's a little bit of me that's like, oh man, we passed a milestone. Well, we had a couple, I think 2 people unsubscribed, so we went down below 1.1. So anyway, I don't know. That can happen. So I try not to get too carried away. But I do see it as a sign that we are growing, albeit slowly, but steadily. And I mean, I'm not paying for ads and things to try to boost us up. And I don't want to do that. I'd rather see it grow organically. And I'm proud of the little community that we've gathered together. And you guys are a part of it. I mean, I couldn't do this by myself for sure. Hey, Rob Champ. He says, Discord at 964 members. Do you take Bytecoin? No, I don't. I don't take any of that. I don't have a tip jar, nothing like that. No Patreon. I really want to open a merch shop, but I feel like the reason for that is I feel like at least you're getting something. It's not just like, oh, just give me money, because you want to give me money. It's like, I don't need that, I mean, I'm not going to turn it down, but I also feel like I shouldn't be asking for it. Whereas at least it's like you buy a t-shirt, like, here's a product, here's something you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you had a merch shop, you could say I've got nothing in stock, and the customer says that's exactly what I'm looking for.
Oh man, The nothing card. Yeah. Just print out stacks of those until I get that C&D letter from Hasbro saying, listen, no. It's like, we are the ones who give the fans nothing, not you. Wait a minute. It didn't sound right. No. Kudos to Avalon Hill. They've been doing the best they can under the circumstances, and I'm sure they'll continue to do so. I hope Hasbro just gives them the space to do that. I say that over and over. Oh, yeah. Sikashem, back to the earlier comment about Chris Cox. You're absolutely 100% right. That was in the context of talking about Transformers specifically, not all Hasbro products everywhere. So, very good point. I think whenever there's talk about Hasbro, fans like us, we still think of our favorite brand. We don't immediately think, oh no, Crocodile Dentist. How is it gonna? It's like, no. How is it gonna affect HeroQuest? Maybe, maybe not. But yeah, each product line has different audiences, different logistics, probably.
Yeah, I hear there's a new Haslab Transformers that's just kind of launched recently.
Yeah.
So that might be part of what collectors means.
Well, that was my first thought, was Haslab, because Hasbro is this giant corporation. Like they have kind of a divided strategy. They sell like medium to cheap toys in stores for families, for just regular people. But then, yeah, Haslab, they have the crowdfunding, limited run products that are pretty expensive. I don't know if they're the most expensive. I mean, I've seen some ridiculous, like, $500 action figures out there. I don't know if they do that, but I mean, you're much more in tune with what they do offer. Yeah, they'll have these like 2-month things. I mean, that's how HeroQuest came back. It's like for 2 months you could pledge, but I mean, a pledge was a purchase. It wasn't like I'm going to give $1,000. It was like, no, it's $149.99. That's what I want to commit to buy. If it's funded, then I get that. And I'm sure lots of people.
Yeah, I mean,
the
Haslabs.
Yeah.
The Haslabs are expensive, but when if you're willing to pay for something and then wait a year for it to arrive, then it'll be the cheapest it's ever going to be.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because people will go online and flip it, so to speak. That's the term we use. Selling it for double, triple the price. Because all the people that missed out on it are mad and want it. But then some of those people are going to sell it again for even more. So it's like, yeah, it becomes a traded commodity, so to speak. I mean, I think some of that stuff looks cool, but after my experience with the HeroQuest one, I don't think I'd ever do it again. Because, one, I feel like with those products, like I'd want to, more than anything, I would want to experience it with other people. So if it was just something that was going to look pretty on my shelf, I mean, I don't know. That's the sort of thing like I don't want to pay a lot for. I know, different mentality. I want to open up the box and I want to play it. And I think if it's not built to last, if it's gonna fall apart on me, then I really feel stupid. Like I really should have just kept it in the box and sold it for double the price, and then I'd feel dirty doing that. But I mean, if you need the money, fine. But you know what I mean? So it puts me in a weird position with those crowdfunded products, even if it's Haslab. So that's how I feel about it. I mean, I hope the stuff they put out is high enough quality that folks like yourself can justify it and say, hey, I didn't get hoodwinked by buying this or supporting this.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I had the foresight, I would have bought 2 HeroQuest Mythic tiers back in 2021, and done what I do with the first one, which is play it, and kept the other one, and then sold it at some point, and essentially had one for free.
Yeah.
But, that means keeping it for a while, and that means having the foresight to do that, and having the cash up front to do that, and all that comes with that. So,
Yeah, I'm looking back.
It's easy to say.
I guess just a little bit of I know we still got a game to play, but we're getting a good conversation going here, so I like it. Part of me, like, if you ask me right now in this moment, I'm thinking I shouldn't have supported it at all. I should have just waited. Like, knowing what I know now, I could have just bought the retail version, and then when I'm ready, buy the next expansion. But I guess I don't regret it in the sense that I felt like, oh, I was part of the movement. I was part of the experience. You know, we were all together anticipating the release. Like, I could have just played the classic version on these streams. I could have just got the new expansions that had the new content. You know, I didn't have to follow everything along. And I basically rebought the same stuff again. Like, I didn't have to do that either. But it was cool to be part of that. It was cool to experience it. It was kind of cool to bite the bullet a little bit, to say to people who were curious about it, like, hey, you know, I checked it out and here's my review. Like, these are my thoughts on it. You know, kind of give them a little bit of a report. You know, be a reporter, take a little bit of a risk. I mean, if the thing had all gone south, I would have had a lot of vitriolic, angry things to say. Like, you think the rank casts are bad? I would have been furious and angry and disappointed if, like, let's say it had just ended right there. Or if they had just put out, you know, mediocre release after mediocre release, or if they had changed it completely to something, you know, totally unrecognizable, I would have been pretty hot about that. You know, and that's just sort of like that outrage content. Like, you get a little bit of that, maybe, I don't know, catharsis listening to it, but after a while it just gets tiresome, I think. I mean, there was a long while when I listened to a lot of podcasts and streams where they were just like ripping apart like Disney Star Wars for all their failures, and it kind of felt good to hear other people like saying that. It's like, yeah, you know, amen, brother. You know, but then after a while it's just kind of like, yeah, I need to move on. I mean, I want to watch stuff that I enjoy. I mean, if I'm not getting anything out of this, it's it's just entertainment at the end of the day. So anyway, any closing thoughts about that before we move on to our game? Got my little soak box. That's the nice thing about having your own stream.
I suppose only that, I mean, the Haslab HeroQuest campaign was so successful that it's that led to all these expansions and re-releases and whatnot. So, you know, if it hadn't been so successful, it may have all just ended right there.
You're right. Yeah, and there are some wise words there. Regardless of what we thought about it, that was the catalyst that brought us to where we are today. So, was it Patrick's idea? I'm trying to remember. I think he's definitely the one that like pushed it forward. For what I recall, I mean, you can listen to my own questions in those interviews, but yeah, with it was one of those things where it was like on the edge, and it was like, well, why don't we just make it a Haslab? Let's see what happens. And it was much more successful than the skeptics at the time in Hasbro thought. So we have them to thank. So yeah, it ended up being the right decision.
Yeah, and you'll recall that we didn't quite hit all the tiers, but we still got Crypt of Perpetual Darkness and the dragon miniature anyway.
Yep, and the alternate gargoyle. So for that, if I ever get to meet Joe Manganiello, I'll definitely express my thanks, shake his hand, unless he's a germaphobe. I don't know. Wear a glove, but yeah, he's definitely to thank for that. Regardless of what you think about anything else about him, it's like, hey, he helped it get over the line. And with it coming to retail at some point, even more so. Yep. Great. How about you, Bohemyus?
Just on a slight tangent.
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sure some people in the community keep track of the typical length of time between a reveal and its release, and I keep thinking, at the risk of sounding like a broken record, I keep thinking, when are we going to hear something official from Avalon Hill? Because, you know, the year's rolling on now, we're into March, and still nothing official.
If we want to do the math, okay, on the what we got, okay, it's possible May, April, May,
okay.
End of April. Yeah, because we know that there's the possibility that it's going to the market in June. So just 1 or 2 months before, they normally start
Well,
uh,
that's a
creating
good
a
guess.
little bit of room. Hmm.
That's a good guess.
Yeah, I was more optimistic that they actually ended this infinite campaign for First Light. Is getting a little out of hand,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's it. It's sad, okay, because also every year they try to push the product to come for they instituted the HeroQuest Day, 15 July, but they're not keeping it up. I mean, they celebrate just the first year. So yes, and I was expecting this year also the 15th July to have a new campaign for HeroQuest, a new box. But I think this year is skip it. They are going to put probably Wizard of Morcar. That is fine, but it's not an Avalon Hill original.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Now, if your theory is correct about June, which I tend to agree with. I mean, I think that's seeing June as either the official announcement or the official release, or the official open of pre-orders, that period. That all makes sense to me. But I was thinking, yeah, there'd be some official acknowledgement before that. I mean, we know it's coming out for real. We've seen the store leaks. That 100% convinces me. But if they want an opportunity for when they would announce something like that officially, I mean, the UK Game Expo at the end of May. So I mean, that would be a good opportunity. And Wizards of Morcar was originally a European exclusive, so that would be fitting. Again, it doesn't have to be, but if they want that. Of course, there's so many things where we think like, oh yeah, they should release this because it's Christmas. They should release this because it's HeroQuest Day. They should release this because, and then they don't do it because it's just more of a whim than whatever market forces are driving their decisions to do what they do, which they don't tell us. It just kind of happens, and we kind of react to it. But it may be that the fans have to pick up the slack like we have in the past. They don't want to release the stuff. Well, then we release the stuff, or we create the stuff, or we design the hype.
Yes.
You
Yeah, July 15th, anyway, they released the first time. They celebrate with Rise of the Moon
hmm Yeah,
in,
a big deal.
in 23. And Jungle of Dentrock, again, an original.
Yeah.
They are still in July, the 6th of July. They, we thought it was going to be much later, but they actually release it before the date. I think this is what they try to do anyway.
Yeah.
So I see July like the HeroQuest month. Okay, for them.
So June, July.
All this delay just to throw a wrench in all the schedule
hmm
in my calculations.
Yeah. Well, I don't see, and I don't see as much of the fan hype. I mean, maybe I'm just have a very narrow view because I'm only looking at YouTube or our Discord or like Yield In. I'm not looking at the entire internet. I rely on other people to report, what's happening on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. But there was so much more anticipation. I mean, I fully understand. I mean, it makes sense to me why Hasbro Avalon Hill would work so hard to push Rise of the Dread Moon because it was a risk. It was a new thing. It's like, okay, well, we knew people wanted the Guardian Knight. We knew, a couple of quests here and there, a couple of heroes here and there, but this is like a full pack of new content. Are people going to understand, how great this is? Are people going to embrace it the same way that they did other things? So they had to push it. And I understand a bit why they're doing this with First Light is like, okay, it's a new type of product within the whole HeroQuest realm. Now they're pushing it for people who don't know what HeroQuest is, as opposed to just people like us who, want it. But then they were also trying to, appease us a little bit, just like they were doing with the retail releases of the Mythic stuff. It's like, okay, well, how do we get people to buy it again? How do we convince them that it's worthwhile and it's not just, for people who missed out, even though that's the majority. So it's interesting that they're courting both sides there. So whoever's in the marketing department, they have their work cut out for them. But I don't know. It's not to everyone's liking. I certainly would like to hear more about the new things than the stuff that's already released. I mean, my thought with the UK Games Expo is, yeah, they could just spend the whole convention talking about First Light again. But my thought is, why would they? Because it's already released in the UK. Like, it's already been out. Like, it was the first one after the US. So it's time to show us the next thing. They can still have it there. They can still promote it. But yeah, I think Wizards of Morcar is one of those like bookends or end caps for a lot of people. A lot of people were saying, hey, you know what? If HeroQuest has to go away again, that's sad. But as long as we get Wizards of Morcar, I'm going to be happy. Like, I'll buy Wizards of Morcar and then I'm done. Like, oh, okay. And I think that's that general sort of not wanting to get your hopes up, not wanting to say, oh man, 25 years later, we're going to look back and say, man, there were only 100 expansions for this game. What a ripoff. Like, I'd rather see the franchise like end on a high note. I mean, if it is gonna end. But as far as like content, yeah, it's like after Wizards of Morcar, the stuff is so obscure. A lot of, at least in the Western world, a lot of fans just don't even know about it, and they might not be as nostalgic about it. So it'd be a little harder of a sell. Okay, no problem, Geek Gun Giddy.
Yeah, I didn't follow the Avalon Hill how in the past. Okay, I just follow the HeroQuest.
Yeah, same.
His production. Okay, but playing other games, the players need updates. Okay, they don't care about that. Okay, the one that care was Carmine. And he understood. He understood what actually the fans, the super fans want. Okay,
that's very well.
Update, make them understand that they're working. Okay, don't let the people completely in the dark, just guessing. No, you need hints. You need to give hints in this kind of line of games, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I agree.
We just keep the chat going. Okay, people talking about and actual with actual facts, not with just conjectures.
Oh man, Geek Gun Giddy's talking about HeroQuest, the Broadway musical. Yeah, don't forget HeroQuest on Ice and the HeroQuest HeroQuest Babies animated TV show Saturday mornings. You got to do it. You got to do everything until we completely jump the shark. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot more that could be said, I suppose. But I could, and I'm just guessing because I can sort of hear like people in my head. Yeah, there's people in my head talking about how, well, there's got to be a reason why they do everything they do. Okay. I don't even remember when I did talk to Carmine, like all the things he said. But I sort of had this sense in my mind that, when he wanted to give a teaser to the fans, he couldn't just do it. He had to like clear it with somebody first. Like, so for all we know, like one little sentence of a hint had to go through a meeting and an approval process. I don't know what kind of bureaucracy they have going there, but it could have been that there was like they would have to take time away from what they're doing to do that sort of thing. I can't imagine it would have been a lot, and I can't imagine a company like having a system like that and it working well. But the fact that they got rid of his whole position, I mean, that could have been just to save money, like they don't have to pay him. But they may have also just thought it's too much effort, like it's not worth the return. But I don't know. I mean, I definitely talked about HeroQuest a lot more because of him and because of his teasers, and not just Chris's, Chris Nadeau's. I mean, Doug Hopkins did it, Avalon Bill, William Mort, he did it. So they had several people that were basically keeping the buzz going. You know, so it wasn't just us talking about, hey, remember that game that we played in the 90s? It was like, oh yeah, and wouldn't it be interesting if da 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 da, you know?
Yes, but how fun was deciphering all the clues? It was fun. That was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and it's not a lasting legacy. I mean, it's just gonna be like, Grandpa, tell us about that time you were on the internet and you had to guess what the name of the expansion was. Oh yeah, I remember it well. Let me tell you the story. You know, all that you're gonna have left is the games after all that. But yeah, it definitely kept us thinking about the product, talking about the product, getting other people interested. And, you know, people on the outside may have looked at us and been like, gee, these guys are weird. Like they're, you know, sharpening the corner of a picture and zooming in on it, trying to figure out what that shadow is.
They're doing it for all the other games. Okay, even
It's not just,
where is Warhammer is doing? I got an entire how do you say, section going just for the rumor mill, showing just part of a miniature that is coming out.
You're right. I forgot about that. Yeah, and they showed the silhouette, and it's like, you know, guess what the adventure of the month is going to be.
Guess which Pokemon.
Right. And yeah, it's like, okay, so the casual shopper at Target or Walmart is not thinking about that, but they might see us and go, man, these obsessed fans, well, maybe I should check out this HeroQuest thing. Maybe there's something to it. Maybe these people aren't all just crazy. Maybe it's a good game underneath it all. Rob Champ says, sorry. let me catch up on these comments here. Laylock says, greetings, no death metal to chill this evening. Rob Champ says, I'm thinking maybe they were younger and internet savvy compared to Doug and Patrick. Maybe comics are the same. Geek Going Giddy says, HeroQuest, the live experience for the Running Man. Rob Champ says, HeroQuest Survivor. Well, I always joke about, and I'm only half joking. I mean, if I had somehow the funds to do it, like a live action role play, cosplay type HeroQuest, you know, like like the live chess sets they have at the park where everybody is in costume and standing on the squares and moving around. I mean, it would be kind of a logistical nightmare to do it because HeroQuest is much bigger than, you know, a chessboard, but still, like that's the sort of thing I would want to see as opposed to just, oh, here's a HeroQuest theme to some other media, like a HeroQuest movie or a HeroQuest cartoon series or something like that. HeroQuest lunchboxes. HeroQuest the Flamethrower. The kids love that one. Merchandising. Spaceball. Okay, enough of that. Well, all right, guys. We could go on and on, but the game awaits. Okay, so who do we have for heroes? We've got looks like you guys are it. So, Bohemyus, Glasgow, who do you want to control tonight?
Yeah. I'll take the druid.
All right.
With this bodyguard.
Yep. And all I did here
I'll
is
stick with the elf.
Okay. All right, so we got the elf, and then the dwarf is just gonna wait until next time.
I don't know. I can take control until Jason is here if you want to.
Okay, because when we least expect it, he will show up. And there's also an ogre mercenary he's controlling. They're both actually in this pit right now at the moment.
Anybody else want to take control?
Yeah, so if you join
I'll keep going with the raptor as well.
Okay. Very nice. Okay, so you're actually controlling the raptor. Actually, let me see if I've got... I think I've got some of Ribby's remarkable rims here. I know it sounded like a product plug. Could be if you wanted to be. Ribby designed these nice 3D printed rims that we use on our streams to differentiate characters a little easier visually. So like, here's for example, he gave me all these colors. They're great. I could put a green one around the raptor just so and then maybe give the druid just blue. Okay, Sikashem says, reminds me, I'm going to try out the True Dungeon as GenCon live dungeon escape room roleplay experience. Lyle Box 66 says, Henry Cavill roll Barbarian. There you go. Well, I didn't do the True Dungeon. A couple of people did talk to me about what True Dungeon was. I didn't quite, it's like, yeah, it's, you would do puzzle solving. It was kind of like an escape room at the convention. But what I was really interested in was totally out of the blue. Like, I just was wandering around at the Indianapolis Convention Center. Like, there's a convention center itself. There's the Lucas Oil Stadium, football stadium. And then there is, like, this whole section of, like, hotels that are kind of connected. Like, you go through the skywalks and the elevators and you can get to these hotels. Well, anyway, a lot of the lobbies and, like, guest rooms and, like, meeting rooms, they had checked out for different activities, and a lot of them were just people sitting at tables playing games, you know, like some of them were free, but they had a group, and I can't remember the name of the group. I talked about it at the time. This was 2 years ago. They had just a basically a LARP group, and it was, I think you could pay $2 for like 15 minutes as a hero. And they actually had a labyrinth set up with like cardboard walls, and they would give you like foam weapons that looked like swords and maces and stuff, and you were supposed to fight monsters. And you know, you go through, and some people really got into it. Like they bought or brought their own costumes. Like you could go downstairs and you could buy stuff, and so they like brought it with them. And they're like, oh, I got my own weapon, so they check your sword to make sure it's not really dangerous, and then let you in. But what I did is I talked the guy into like letting me be a monster. I was like, oh, it's $5 and you can just be here all afternoon if you want to. I was like, oh, sweet. So they gave me like some like orc stuff to put on, and it was a really simple costume, but it was really cool because people would come through and like fight you. And they had like for spells, like they would throw these little beanbags at you, like they're supposed to be like fireballs. So you like react like, oh, I got hit, you know. And you had to like go in the corner and like respawn your monster. So it was kind of an interesting little thing, and I really enjoyed it. So that's not the same as the True Dungeon, but I think the one I played, that was definitely like what I was expecting, what I wanted out of it. So if I see something like that again, I'd definitely do it. But I mean, I didn't sign up beforehand. I just kind of showed up, and they happened to have an opening. It's like, well, we don't have any hero openings, but you could be a monster. Like, oh, how much is it? $5? Like, how long does it go? I mean, we'll be here till this hour. Like, okay. So I'd definitely do it again. And yes, I had my fake beard, and I put the mask over the beard. So it was like I was disguised as a dude playing another dude. He thought he was a different dude, or whatever the quote was from Tropic Thunder. Yeah. So I think the other one sounded fun, but I think what I did was even better. Uncommon feat. Calling the rat companions haggis, neeps, and daddies.
Yeah, I used to organize this LARP in Lucca years and years ago.
Oh,
Yeah, you always need a lot of monsters, so the fee for the monster is always low.
Live
Very
action
low.
role play. Yeah. I think we played. Yeah, it was like orcs or goblins, something like that. You know, green monsters, and then undead, and then spider people or something. So we just had like, I think the last one we just had like a hockey mask that had been cut in half, and like a, I don't know, it's like a potato sack that we tied around your waist. That was it. With some twine. Really simple.
Yeah.
Okay, so Geek Gone Giddy, we got names for the rats. Yeah, that's more of the naming, but I mean, I'll take it. Sika Hashem says, I have a friend who has done True Dungeon almost every year for the past 20 years, give or take. It's his primary tradition reason for going to Gen Con. Well, I mean, that's saying something for sure. Everybody's got their own thing. I mean, I thought I would really enjoy the Warhammer Kill Team laser tag, and I was super disappointed. So, I mean, definitely give it a try because I think it's your first time going to the convention. Yeah, definitely sign up for the things you want. Let everybody know how it went. But that's definitely high praise from somebody who did it before. I could also see, I mean, sometimes it's not just the activity itself, but it's just the people you meet and, the fun you have hanging out with them. So there's something to be said for that too. I mean, I enjoyed myself at the laser tag just because the people I was with, Rob and Ribby and Angus, they made it much more tolerable. If I'd been by myself, man, I would have really been upset. But at least I could crack jokes with them as we were disappointed. So it's great that you'll be there, and I think yeah, you definitely have fun hanging out. I mean, it's true. If you pay $22 for the event versus paying $5, I mean, there can be a difference there in terms of regret. Yeah, sometimes it's about the people you met along the way. Yes, yes. Okay, so one last thing here about Gen Con. Yeah, when we played the Warhammer Kill Team laser tag, at the beginning they're like, okay, we're gonna like give a really loud war cry cheer before we go into the arena. And so we were the orcs, so we're like, and that was a blast. But then the rest of it was crap after that. It was all downhill from there. So we had one good moment. Yep. It was friends we met along the way. That was the real Hero Quest. Okay, all right. All that aside, back on track here.